Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, January 20th meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Flossmoor. Just a couple of reminders before we get started. This meeting is being streamed via Zoom for the convenience of those who are unable to attend in person. Also, when I call for public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name, address, please act with decorum, address your comments to the public body at large and not a single member of staff, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes per person for a total public comment time of 30 minutes. Also, if you might have noticed, the posters in front, that was part of our MLK Day of Service. The Art Commission did a project in here with community members and some students from HF High School, and we designed posters that talk about what we think the importance of MLK Day is. So we decided to leave them here tonight because we thought this was a really beautiful representation of the village, but they will be posted outside for a bigger display with the Art Commission in Flossmoor Park later on this year. Thank you so much. The time is 7:03. Clerk Porter, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Madras. Here. Trustee Mustafa.
Here.
Trustee Rogers.
Here.
Trustee Daggett.
Here.
Trustee Dorsey.
Here.
Trustee Lofton.
Here.
And Mayor Nelson.
Present. Thank you so much. We have a quorum. Before we move on to public comment, I do want to recognize a really special group of kiddos that's in the room tonight. I want to welcome the HF Robotic Cricketers. So if you please come on up, I'd like the community to see what you've been working on since late summer. This group of kids, they're all Flossmoor residents. They are in they're grades 4 through 8 at all Flossmoor schools. They had the 6th highest robot score at a regional competition about a month ago out of 2019. They were awarded the Rising Star Award. Most of them, this is their first year on a robotics team. And they will be competing at a very big sectional tournament coming up this weekend. So I want to welcome the Cricketers. We have Laz, Elliot, Evan, Charlie, Evan, Finn, and Samaya. So Elliot, take it away.
Good evening, Village of Flossmoor's trustees. We are members of the Cricketers, a Homewood-Flossmoor robotics team. My name is Elliot Chan, and I'm an 8th grader at Parker Junior High. We have come to you tonight to ask for your support in establishing a plaque marking the only archaeological dig site in Flossmoor's history, the Horton site. In front of you are packets that contain the information about our journey leading up to this point, including a mock-up of what the plaque will look like. First LEGO League challenges us to engineer a robot to complete missions. But beyond that, we need to identify a real-world problem connected to this season's theme, archaeology. We chose to talk about the Horton site and site preservation as a whole, which is why we want to erect a plaque in Flossmoor memorializing it.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Charlie Root, and I'm a 5th grader at Western Avenue Elementary. In September 2025, our team visited the newest bridge in Flossmoor, which crosses Butterfield Creek, near Brookwood Drive. During that visit, we learned about a nearby archaeological dig in the 1960s, the only one in Flossmoor's history. We were surprised to learn that very few Flossmoor residents have ever heard of it. That became our problem to solve: restore the legacy of Flossmoor's only archaeological dig. We teamed up with experts in institutions such as Northwestern University, the Field Museum, the Art Institute of Chicago, the Illinois State Museum, the Flossmoor and Homewood Historical Societies, and the South Suburban Archaeological Society, represented tonight by its president, William Kelly. We also built a scaled model of the Horton site, which has traveled with us through exhibits and tournaments to help people visualize the area. These partnerships have allowed us to present our research at the Homewood Science Center and the South Suburban Archaeological Society meeting, where we received strong encouragement to continue our goal.
Trustees, my name is Samaya Garrett. I am a 6th grader at Parker Junior High School. In the 1960s, a 15-year-old Chicago Heights resident named Vernon Kurbisich convinced the Field Museum and the Northwest University to excavate the site before a new development erased it. This led to a summer with archaeological programs for local high school students in 1966 and 1967.
Trustees, my name is Evan Moore, and I'm a 5th grader. The excavation uncovered shell ceramics, arrowheads, deer bones, and housing posts, confirming that indigenous people of an upper Mississippian culture lived and hunted here in the 1400s. This history deserves to be remembered, and a plaque can make that happen.
We are asking for your support in our endeavor and, if possible, a contribution to make this plaque a reality. We have already set up a GoFundMe to start raising the necessary $3,600. You can find a QR code for it on the packets in front of you. This plaque represents more than just the site itself. It represents Flossmoor's history as a whole. It spans from Native Americans settling at the site, to kids exploring the banks of Butterfield Creek and finding arrowheads, to the students who worked to excavate the site, and finally to us, preserving the site's legacy. It would be an enormous help if you could assist us in bringing this to fruition. We will be competing in the first LEGO League Illinois Sectionals in Batavia this Saturday, and we hope you'll join us as supporters of our mission. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, kiddos. That was great. And then I'd like to quickly welcome Will Kelly, President of South Suburban Archaeological Society, who has a letter from, he was a 15-year-old at the time who discovered the site and inspired this archaeological dig.
Thank you to the trustees for having us here tonight. I am Will Kelly, the president of the South Suburban Archaeological Society, but I've come to read a letter from Vernon James Grubasich in support of the request to create a historical plaque to place near the site just west of Butterfield Creek. He's now up in Evanston, but this is the letter. Subject, historical marker for the Horton Archaeological Site. Dear council members, please accept this letter requesting your approval of an historical marker at the Horton Archaeological Site. As the person who facilitated the scientific identification and excavation of the site, I believe such a marker would not only be consistent with what neighboring municipalities have done, but that it is also justified given its historical and educational relevance. The Horton site represents an important prehistoric habitation and location within the network of Mississippian period towns and villages that linked not only the greater Chicago area, but also much of the eastern portion of what is now the United States of America. Consequently, the Horton site is of significant scientific, cultural, and historical value. A permanent marker at the Horton site will also have educational value to current and future residents of Flossmoor who will be able to acquire greater knowledge about and take greater pride in their community. I can envision field trips to the site to educate Flossmoor school children. The marker will help underwrite Flossmoor as a unique place to live, work, and visit. Finally, the marker can be designed, manufactured, and placed at little taxpayer expense. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to the Horton site receiving a favorable decision. Sincerely, V. James Grubasich. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly, and thank you for your mentorship of these fine young folks in our community. I'll take a couple of questions from the trustees if they have any. I think the kiddos are looking for your thoughts on whether or not this is a good idea. And surely if you can scan a QR code, they would appreciate a donation too, right? All right, I'll start with Trustee Daggett.
Thank you for coming and presenting. That was a fantastic presentation. We have presentations all the time, and they're usually not the most engaging. Yours was very engaging. You did a fantastic job. I'm absolutely all for it. I can't think of a better use of that site to have that historical marker. I love all the work that you guys are doing. I will definitely go to the GoFundMe. I do have a question for you guys. Do you have something or a link to the GoFundMe that we can share on our social media to get it out to more of the community?
Did you guys ready this QR?
There's one on here?
Packet.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can just pull that to our phone and then just share that to social media from there. Okay.
And there's also like a thing already out there on Facebook.
Awesome. So another suggestion I have, and you could do it or you could not do it. One of the things that I've seen is when people are trying to raise money for different causes that they have, the local small businesses in downtown Flossmoor have been really good about allowing you to put a little thing there with the QR code on it so customers that come in can see it, and while they're buying their coffee or they're at Dunning's, they can also donate there. So that might be something you consider as well if you haven't already. But yeah, great presentation, 100% all for it. I look forward to it being there. So yeah, thank you so much.
Trustee Rogers.
No questions, just I'm in full support, and thank you for your presentation.
Trustee Mustafa.
You're very well prepared, and the information is brand new to me, so I thank you for bringing it to our attention, and I fully support what you're doing. I think it will be a great opportunity for other young people, and will also add to Flossmoor's history, emphasis on history, so thanks again.
Thank you. Trustee Nitros.
Does this sit on private property or?
We've identified a piece of public property, Village Manager Wachtel.
Yeah, with the assistance of Director Brunke, we've identified some property that the village has an easement on over near Brookwood Bridge that we think would be appropriate for this.
Oh, okay. And then what would be the access to the site? I'm all in favor of what you guys are doing here. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's actually accessible from sidewalks that has been recently installed as part of the part of the bridge project.
Okay.
So if I can get my geography right, it would be the southwest corner of that area. So
Where would they park?
they'd have to park on the street up on Brookwood Bridge, or up on Brookwood and then walk down to it.
Oh, okay. What tribe of indigenous people were these? I'm just out of curiosity, like Iroquois Indians, or do we know?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
Actually, it's of a date where it's very difficult to tell what specific tribal entity are the descendants of the people who were living there. It's possible that these were the ancestors of the Winnebago, depending on the date that you think that the later dates would have set it as possibly the Inuit, but it looks now like the dates earlier, so it would be possibly the ancestors of the Winnebago or a similar group that later moved out to Iowa.
Will some of that information be on the planet for us?
Actually, in order to make sure that the information does not get outdated, I think the phrase might just be late pre-contact. These are people who were living in this area in the period right before Columbus landed in the Caribbean, right about the time the last of the Norsemen were pulling out of Greenland. So,
and the sites are always named after the person that discovers the site?
The Horton Farm.
I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay, versus, okay.
The owner of the land on which it was identified. So there was somebody named Horton that had a little farm there at one time.
Okay, I think that's peculiar and interesting. I have a cousin who owns some land in Mississippi where they were the mound builders, and his last name was Farr, and it's the Farr Mounds versus, you know, the Cherokee or whatever. But I'm all in favor of it, and I will send you a little donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lawson.
Well, congratulations on a great presentation. You guys make a good team. One thing we've learned over the last several months is that Flossmoor is becoming of interest to the film industry. And nothing better to show on film than the history of Flossmoor. And you guys have dug up something, excuse the phrase, but congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Trustee Dorsey.
You know, I tell you, when you get to a certain age, you think you can't be educated on anything, right? And I love the fact that this is fresh information for me. So if I can enjoy it, I can imagine the amount of young people, the amount of residents that would love to explore and learn more about this. I understand there has been excavation. I understand that there has been some artifacts that has been developed or been uncovered. Are there any that will be on display, or is there information of where people can see those artifacts? Have they been cataloged anywhere?
Well, let's put it this way. There's a small group of artifacts from the Horton site that are kept at the Homewood Historical Society. There are some in private hands. People who are collectors who pick things up for the excavations. We tried to find out where everything is kept from those 1966 and 67 excavations. What happened is that the person who was doing the write-up suddenly found himself swept up in some other activities about the time he was graduating. He handed it off to somebody who himself got swept up in other activities. So we think that almost all the artifacts are currently held in an archaeological archive at Northwestern University called the Underground, where all kinds of things are kept until one day somebody gets to finish the write-up. So in the meantime, you'll see some things in private hands, some things at the Homewood Historical Society, and the rest is in the underground.
Well, I think we have a group of individuals here that will uncover the underground. I think that's the next generation, right? That's the next task. I'm extremely proud of you. Can't wait to see this happen. I'm in full support of this and be happy to go and do a funding on the GoFund. Thank you guys. Very well done.
And Trustee Dorsey, Flossmoor Historical Society does have donations from Mr. Al Wagner and also Dick Condon, who interestingly enough, about a decade apart from each other, when they were kiddos about the same age, were doing exploration in the Horton Field.
Absolutely amazing.
So those will all be on display. We'll probably come up with some type of unveiling event, since we've got your support, some type of unveiling event where we can present those and also the sign.
Extremely interesting. Thank you.
It would be really cool if we could get like a display to hang here with its arrowheads or whatever. Maybe even like the Greeks running the Acropolis, the friezes back from the Acropolis. Maybe Homewood would return those to their rightful owner.
We can storm the castle.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry.
All right, thank you so much, HF Robotics Cricketers, great job, and thank you so much to Mr. Will Kelly from South Suburban Archaeological Society. Appreciate your time and joining us. Next up, I have public comment, and I don't have anybody who has signed up to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there anything anybody would like to hold off for discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Porter, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
Trustee Dagger.
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Lawson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Moving on, just a quick report on the commissions. Yesterday was our 12th or 13th annual MLK Day of Service. Oh, I'm not, maybe 11th. We've been doing it for a long time, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great pick-me-up during kind of a downtime after the holidays and on a cold winter day. It's been great getting out to see neighbors, not just from Flossmoor, but from all over the South Suburbs joining together in service, actually doing things to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s memory. CRC did an amazing job once again. Our staff did an incredible job. Also, I don't see Nicole Castagna, but Nicole Castagna really, I was told, was the driving force behind the organization of the event this year. And then also Art Commission, who sponsors their own project. Everybody did a great job. There were 30 projects in total, all ages, which was part of the beauty of the day, was seeing all ages at all of our local schools, even the high school, participate in this very special project. So thanks again to everybody who came out and made a difference. Moving on to action items. Can I get a motion to approve the consideration of an ordinance of the Village of Flossmoor, Cook County, Illinois, approving a development agreement by and between the Village of Flossmoor and OBE Studios, LLC?
Second.
Thank you so much. And tonight we have Barry Brewer and his wife Jasmine. I also want to thank Phil Lee, who's in the audience too. Phil introduced me to Barry last fall, and things have been moving pretty fast. But thank you. When residents use their connections to create opportunities, and then the village can deliver on those opportunities to create a meaningful partnership, it's powerful. So thank you, Phil, again, for your help with this connection. I first met Barry and the co-founder of OBE Studios, and he told me about his vision for moving his studio space from Indiana to Illinois. And that's in part thanks to tax credits that were made available by the state of Illinois and Governor Pritzker in the beginning of 2025. On top of a great presentation, I just saw a huge opportunity for the village of Flossmoor to bring in visitors, to contribute to our local economy, and also growing our commercial tax base, and also joining a group of fantastic business owners that we already have here. I really connected with his vision. His work speaks for himself. He had a holiday release, a film that just dropped right before the holidays. The acting, the music, the storyline, the filming of it all was just so impressive and well done, and really proud to have him here to present tonight his vision for the new OBE Studio, LLC, in the village of Flossmoor. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you for the trustees. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. First of all, it's an honor to be here, and we're grateful for the opportunity for the partnership between OBE Studios and the city of Flossmoor. Simply put, my name is Barry. This is my beautiful wife, Jasmine Brewer. We've been doing this for a long time, and we opened up a physical space 4 years ago here in Indiana, where we turned it into a physical space. Initially, we started off as a production company. I've been doing television and film over 23 years. Started doing stand-up comedy at 19 years old, traveled to LA, and have continued to build and learn a lot about the industry. The industry is changing drastically for all the major players in the industry, like the Paramounts and Warner Brothers and Sony's, because the internet, the equipment, things like that, is just really influencer-based, people that have audiences, because there's so many ways to consume television now. And so it provides an independent studio like us a very great opportunity to be successful with our ideas, with our movies, to reach a substantial audience. And so I'm going to go through the presentation. OBE Studios, very important is that in light of MLK Day, OBE stands for Only Believe Entertainment. And throughout my life, believing things that did not seem very much so in reach or possible has been my motto, my aspiration. So this is not just a business for me or my wife. This is our passion. This is our purpose. And this is the way we work our purpose and passion through our business. So it's all connected. So this is not just, I want to make movies. No, this is something a lot deeper than that. So I do want to say that openly, because it's just the fact of the matter. Only Believe Entertainment Studios is redefining what a film and media campus can be. Not just a place for a large-scale production, but a full ecosystem where filmmakers, digital content creators, and artists converge to shape the booming future of entertainment. We're excited to be rooted in Flossmoor, Illinois. Our dual campus master plan will transform over 11 acres into a creative district that merges education, innovation, and community wellness. Again, my name is Barry Brewer. I have been doing this 25 years, so I lost count, but COVID threw me off. But we was at home a long time. I've worked with the likes of Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, I performed with Dave Chappelle and a lot of people of that nature. I don't think that plays a part. More importantly, I started doing films when I was 21. I moved to LA as a stand-up comedian and an actor and wanted to have an opportunity to perform and show my talent in front of the camera. And when you first move to places like that, nobody knows you. And so that's why I started to create my own films and started to learn independent filmmaking. It provided me a great opportunity as when I started to get hired as a professional actor from my independent learnings as a filmmaker to then being on high-level productions. I have all of that experience, so it's a blessing. My beautiful wife, Dr. Jasmine Monet Brewer, is the co-founder who's managed me for all this time. And she's been with me the entire time, helping with operations, management, and so forth. She's also a very talented performing artist. She's acquired her doctor's degree in educational policy, but she has a background in performing arts, film and directing as well. And I think we go together well. It's what my mother says. Okay.
Hello, everyone. We'll give him a break. We are both under the weather, so we're really trying our best. So I'll give him a break vocally, and I'll go through this slide with you. So our vision and mission, as very stated, OBE Studios. OBE stands for Only Believe Entertainment, and that was originally created because Barry had a vision that it's not important to wait for Hollywood to take a chance on you. If you have a vision and you have talent, you have a dream and a passion, you take a chance on yourself, you believe in yourself, and you go out and start making things happen. And that is how we have led this business and our lives. So from that, our vision and mission. Our vision is to inspire the world through television and film. Our mission is to create quality content to uplift, encourage, motivate, and inspire. Our guiding principles are excuse me, we empower the best people, we create honest relationships, and we're always looking for ways to do things right the first time. And our core values are integrity, quality, expertise, and community.
Thank you. Our goals is to make Flossmoor the creative capital of the Midwest. Why? How? The thing I think that is exciting is Flossmoor feels like home. It does, and that's just the truth. Prior to this opportunity, I live in Olympia Fields. My son went to Parker Junior High, and our baby son goes to Flossmoor Montessori School. He's been there for almost 3 years, I think, since he was 1. He's 3 now. So we just really personally enjoyed the city and the community that it brings. And so it's really exciting because the other studios that are in Illinois, that's in Chicago, I don't believe has that feel. With the opportunity here, I think it will attract a lot of big productions because it will give them that same feel. Different than they would get in the city of Chicago. As we know, Flossmoor is a little better. Number 2. So everybody wants to live there. Number 2, it will empower local growth and pride. And how will it do that? Well, we know that in any city, the economic foundation is built on sales tax and income through the businesses that support in that city. What this will do is productions need every aspect of groceries to materials to build to, everything you could think of that's just necessary for a city to run, it's necessary for a movie studio and productions to run. And so that will bring more sales around everything, restaurants, all those things, etc. Really empowers that. Number 3 is to innovate through technology and education. My background in film and television, and I've learned this because I've worked with people high level in Hollywood, and I've also worked with independent filmmakers, and there is a very empty space there because if you work in Hollywood, you really are a specialist. You work in a specific area. If you're a director, you direct. You know how to make the story come to life on a camera, but you don't understand the financing. You don't understand all the logistics of production. As an independent filmmaker, you have to learn all those things because you don't have the resources to do that. So with that experience, we want to educate and bring that knowledge to our next generation of filmmakers so that they're well prepared for this new industry that is changing very rapidly. I said a lot of what's in it for Flossmoor. It brings a lot of national brands and opportunities for people to want to come. And where there's people, where there's community, businesses naturally are attracted. There's a lot. Tyler Perry Studios is a great example of that. Prior to its building or its bigger project, a lot of huge brands have migrated there because of the productions that came there. And so we're looking to build that same community here in Flossmoor. We're really interested in community integration. We're really interested in building in the community that we live in. We don't want to just be someone that exists in the community and not really play a part in helping the young people with those movies and stories that you mentioned, which I think is a great to dig up for sure. And we're really excited and interested in those things. And we know that Homewood-Flossmoor High School is an amazing high school, and we want to be able to have somewhere locally for these young people to feed right into in the things they aspire to be, right? And not have to go so far. You know, we know sometimes going far is great and it helps you grow, but it's a blessing to have that right in your backyard. Economic impact, again, it will bring vendors, permits, new businesses, increase employment, etc. Again, there's a lot of literature that supports this. In every city, New Mexico has a great tax credit and has built a community of filmmakers where production companies were never going to New Mexico, but when that tax credit is a very, very intriguing component to every big production. And I'm saying the big ones, I'm talking about Disney, Warner Brothers, everybody. Why? Because everybody wants to save money. And Illinois is the #1, has the best tax credit in the entire United States. So that makes us a great place to be. So we're grateful for that. We said that. This is a snapshot. We'll be building this in phases. Our first phase will include a production/admin building. It will have that sign that says "Only Believe." We want to inspire people. That is very, very important to us. That will be there. We will have a meal, and we will also have a very amazing landscape. We want people to feel what Flossmoor has represented as long as I've been around. It's making it feel like home, making it feel like a place you want to stay and never leave. That's the goal. In conclusion, the film industry is evolving. Illinois film tax credit is attracting major players from across the industry. We believe Flossmoor is a prime location with transportation infrastructure and artistic community, which makes it the perfect city to partner with. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've also been told that our proximity to 57, with more farmland down south and the ability to get into the city quickly, I've also been told that that's also an attractive reason to have a studio here. Is that consistent with what
Yes.
your needs are?
Yes, just even in traveling from downtown to out here and transportation and the measure, yes, it makes it very convenient for great talent that's wanting to stay obviously in downtown that has the nice hotels. But I do think that bigger brands and chains would want to build closer, as this will be something that, I think will be definitely sought out.
Well, you've definitely made me a believer, so thank you for the great presentation. Before I take questions from the trustees, I also want to thank village staff because they were working very hard right alongside you during the holidays when everybody else was sitting by the fire with the cocoa. They were all working very, very hard.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you so much for your work to bring this in front of us tonight. Do you have anything to add before I take comments from the trustees?
I think I'll just highlight a couple of things from the material that's in the packet. We're talking about 2 parcels just west of the Public Works facility. The addresses are 3638 198th Street and 3648 198th Street. Both of these parcels went into tax sale several years ago, and the village was able to acquire them through the municipal tax sale scavenger sale purchase, which is known as the no cash bid program, which currently is on hold. But these properties have been acquired already by the village, and it's just a great moment to be able to put them, back into development and to create this economic engine that we're talking about. The agreement in your packet was prepared by Village Attorney Kathy Orr. It is similar to previous agreements that have been before the Village Board. You'll note that once OBE gets through the procedural plan review through Plan Commission and the Village Board and through permit approvals, that'll be the point in time at which we will transfer the property to Barry and to the project. Through the development agreement, we are supporting a Class A tax abatement. That'll be considered by the Village Board at a future meeting as well. And the brewers are agreeing to a make-whole agreement to make whole to the village our component of the property tax bill. There are several provisions within the agreement that should we won't talk about them, but should something go sideways, we'll have the ability to recapture the property and be able to see to its development in the future. So it's very standard to what the Village Board has approved in the past, and if there's any questions, we can certainly answer them for you.
Thank you so much. I'll start with questions from Trustee Dorsey.
Thank you. I think this is something that is going to be really beneficial to Flossmoor. Right? I know this is your business, but I can imagine what it is for Flossmoor. When the mayor first showed me your plans, you mentioned the name, and the first thing I thought of was Manager Studios. And I thought of his start, right, where they're talking about Hollywood not being accepting, and how he had to create his own.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if you visited the studio type, but it is.
Yeah, I've worked there for 4 years.
And so you know what it was before.
Yes.
Right. So I think about this piece of land, although pretty large, but not on the same scale of land, but what you've designed kind of reminds me of that design. So to hear about your story of going to LA and making your start at 19, right?
Yes.
And where you are now to come up with the concept of this, it was almost immediate that I started thinking of Manager Studios. It's kind of the same story.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned your knowledge of what the high school has to offer. I literally think their productions in radio and in film and theater is really top notch. And then you're also placed around that Midwest where the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana has a great theater program. And if you think of the individuals that have actually come out of there and that have made success or that are looking for success in the entertainment area, this provides a great opportunity. So where you are now in Indiana, do you have a FTE, a full-time employees count there?
An employee count?
Yeah.
Yes, we have about 8 employees.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that the same scale or because
No, this is a different
grand
scale for sure. We have a 10,000 square foot facility there. We have 8 employees. So this is a different level for sure. But again, like I was saying earlier, just in managing every movie and project I've done, it's been like its own very minute business, which has sometimes been up to 42 people managing on a project, having like 25 crew members, 14, 15, 20 actors, and just balancing the financial side of things and managing the whole production. Every movie feels like its own business every time. So.
It is. It has its own LLC, its own bank account, so it's very simple.
Yeah, so that being an experience, not saying that that's the exact same thing, but really understanding the business in its entirety. That's why we feel like we're ready to scale, because of the understandings that we have, because of having the facility, understanding all the moving pieces, obtaining the overhead, every month. Obviously, again, this is a much bigger thing, but we're very confident that because of where we are and what we're building, it will just open up. Even if we had our space in Illinois that we have in Indiana, we would probably be way more successful because of the tax credit alone. We've had a lot of movies wanting to work with us, but the tax credit is a big part of their financial, aspect of their project. So So yes, we're very confident that we'll be able to handle whatever's to come with this property.
Extremely impressed with your experience, extremely impressed with your design. I'm certain you understand how not only Chicago market, but now Flossmoor has become this desirable space for film industry. It was just at some meeting a couple of months ago where individuals were coming, they were actually looking at houses, looking at how to design. And my last question, I'll turn it over. The AI concept of entertainment and film. Is there a component of that? As much as individuals may have some concern about it, it also appears to be something that's not going away. No. So that businesses have to put some component of that into their design. Is that part of your thought process?
AI is going to be definitely a component that we have to work with. Right now, at the very early stages, it's not one of our focus because of all the other logistics that are important as the foundation of the business. But yes, AI will be a part of, because like you said, it's a part of how things are changing and times are changing. So we want, as we're trying to educate, we want to be as understanding of all components that is in a part of our industry so that we can prepare the next generation of filmmakers, because again, the difference with OBE Studios that is different from most other film studios is we want to have an educational component. We want it to be a place where people can come to learn really about this world of filmmaking. People see the glitz and the glamours and the shiny lights, but people don't know how much work. And my mom was so excited to do a movie, just a quick story. And she, and I always could tell my mother, I guess that's where I got it from. I had to tell my mother wanted to be a part of a movie, and I gave her a small role. And she was on set for 12 hours one day, and she's like, "This is what I got to do every day." I said, "Yes." She wanted to quit. I said, "You can't quit now. I done already filmed."
That's right.
But she said this was my first and last project because she did not know how much time and preparation, sitting in makeup, going to change clothes, coming back, learning the lines, being prepared. There's work that goes into this. A lot of people admire it, but they don't really understand the work behind it. And it's a lot. Sometimes it's more work than the average job, because it's a lot of different components that you have to consider. So, yes, so we're excited about just the educational component and embracing all technology and innovative technology that is, growing every day.
All right, I'll leave it as I'm supportive and I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
I
appreciate
want to see
that.
this be successful.
Truly, thank you so much for that. Thank you for all those questions.
Thank you. Trustee Daggett.
Yeah, this looks like an amazing project. When it was presented to us, I was like, yeah, no brainer. Combining the experience that you already have a facility that's been successful, you're scaling it up, which that's a risk, but I'm all for it. I think it's great. And I think, a lot of the work, you got to kind of rewind a little bit, that one of the things that Flossmoor has done, and this has started way before I was on the board, is they've done a great job of making sure that land that is available for us to snag so we can decide what goes there, they've done a fantastic job of that. So this is the result of that. It's a bummer that program is on hold, because I know there's other properties we want. But this, to me, is a perfect use of that, because it seamlessly fits in with our community. We already have film professionals both in Flossmoor and Homewood, some of which are my friends. The high school will benefit from this. The community will benefit from this. I know what goes into some of these productions because I've been a part of a few of them. And the lunches alone, they're all going to come from local places. Yes. And that all is going to help. And then after filming, they got to have somewhere to go hang out before, they got to unwind for the next day. Yeah. And we've got great places for that to happen as well. So I love the plan. I like the staging of the plan. It seems sensible. And you know all the finances behind that. I don't need to know all that. But it looks like it's very well thought out and very well planned. So I wish you nothing but the best. You have my full support into it. And I get this one across the finish line, because I think it would be fantastic. This is exactly the type of thing that we wanted to see go into those places. You rack your brains of what can go there and what can. We don't want trucking. We don't want that. This is perfect. So to me, 100%.
Thank you.
Behind it.
And I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate your understanding of that, because I think so many communities don't understand the opportunity with what this can be. So it is also a great blessing that we have the visionaries in place that understands what can be. that does make a difference. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Rogers.
Well, I'm excited about the plans for the students at HF, because I know we have a lot of talent in this community that would love to be part and also be educated on things like that. Just reminds me of the time when I wrote a play and I had to go up to Chicago and do a table read at the Black Ensemble Theater. So, you know, to have something like that locally here for developing talent, and then to be educated on it and to have something right at the foot of the community that's easily accessible and you don't have to pay for parking. I think it's a good idea, and it is a large opportunity, especially with the amount of talent we have that's come out of HF, you know, so in the community. The only question I do have, and I think this will kind of explain more into the community, like any performance protections that you can talk about.
Performance protections?
Yeah, like you already talked about some of the benefits that is going to be attractive to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to financially the benefits? I know we talked about, you know, like bringing revenue in from other businesses because we have the tax credits.
Mm-hmm.
What other businesses do you envision outside of the arts that may also be interested in your studio?
Oh, restaurants. We want to, the theater in the other phase, bringing productions, big productions, events, bigger events here versus maybe going to Tinley Park's Performing Arts Convention Center or somewhere in Chicago. Like I said, businesses like bigger chains, because we want to have, like similar to a college campus, how like you'll have like maybe a Wendy's or a Chick-fil-A or someone. So we have business like that who want to be attracted to, because productions, they're trying to come in there to rent out spaces for that. So those type of businesses, I think, will be attracted to be here. But again, we want to bring in businesses that complements the city and not work against some of the people that were here already. So we want to be very, particular about that, because we want the people that's been here building their business to benefit from that. So if it's in the same vein of something that's very local and close, maybe we offer them the opportunity to be there versus, someone else that may get the competition.
Will there be any internship opportunities for the students?
Oh yes, there'll be internships. That's a big part of the educational component. So we'll be wide open for internships. That's a big part of what this is about. I think because of my journey as an actor and an entertainer, I kind of empathize with the undeveloped, the people that maybe they're not ready, maybe they're not prepared, maybe, I don't know. But to give them opportunities to get all the knowledge of what it takes to be successful in hopes they can be successful. And the movie that the mayor watched, you'll be surprised how many new talent are really talented, from young to old, 60, 70-year-old men and women who always felt in their heart that they had something in them to do this, but there was really no way to navigate that. There was no way to, if you feel like you're this and you kind of grown and have a family and you have somewhat of a career and you're like, I have this in me, but it just sits there and it leaves with you when you leave here. And so we think that provides opportunities for that for people. So that's a very important component to our model.
Excellent. Now it makes me think about what Chance the Rapper is doing downtown Chicago with the studios that he has.
Yes.
And so that's something that it's an opportunity that the students down this way could actually have. And even some of the local businesses, and just put Flossmoor further on the map.
Yes, and we do that now in the city of Indiana. Maryville High School has come several times. We have an intern who works for us now, named Armani. He's a junior editor at our studio, and he's working, making money with us. And he came as a senior in high school, and he's in his second year of college, but he works for us now. And he came just from touring the studio with his high school, and that was the theater program, I believe, that came on tour. So we already are moving in that direction, and so we're always excited to just be about community, because that's what we're about, just where we're from. My wife being from East Oakland and I being from the south side of Chicago, community is important, and building community is very vital to us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
Well, now I'm looking forward to my second music video.
I got you.
I've done one already. I'll give you the link afterwards.
Please.
On a serious note, so you talk about internships and partnerships with education, with the high school. So after you have the permits, because I know you'll have permits, at what point do you see starting those conversations with the high school, and are you also thinking about the community colleges?
Yes, so we plan on starting those conversations once we are building, once we are, having all of our ducks in a row and the building phase is in full movement. We plan on starting to reach out and starting partnerships and, communications and seeing where we can partner, how we can partner with said people, vendors, with, school, whomever. Once we're past that stage, obviously that's the foundation of it, right? So once we're past that and that's kind of rolling, we plan on moving into those conversations with all local opportunities that we can, see us working and seeing if they're open to work with us.
Okay, so with the experience that you've outlined, and you were privy to quite a bit of information before you came today, you've done internships before? Okay. And did you get involved with the curriculum development with the faculty?
The internship was really about them kind of walking alongside of something they wanted to do. If they wanted to edit, if they wanted to act, kind of being a part of it.
I asked it incorrectly.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Before that response, did you get involved with the faculty at the educational institution to be a part of developing the curriculum that would include the internship?
We have our own curriculum that we've created, given the experience of independent filmmaking and normal. So we created curriculum. Yes, my wife has a background, but we've already created our own curriculum. The internship wasn't that necessarily. It was just them kind of, coming alongside, seeing what that looks like, starting to get hands-on experience with that. So because they were already, we didn't have that, we don't have that there yet, but we do have a curriculum. We haven't implemented, we've done some workshops where we've applied some of the curriculum to the acting workshops, etc. But we haven't implemented the whole full curriculum at that location yet. This is the location that will expand that opportunity, because obviously it takes a lot more resources and workers and et cetera, to do that. So no, we haven't implemented that in that way yet, but we have done things to prepare for that.
I'm sorry, I want to make a differentiation because we do have a film academy, and that's the curriculum we're talking about, right?
Yeah, but she's asking about the internships being able to be implemented in the curriculum. That's what she's speaking to.
Okay, got it.
No, either way is good. I needed a better understanding of how you would approach it, or how you've already approached it, and your level of experience to this point. You've done a great job helping me understand.
Yes.
We were told, the board was told you have your own security, so I'm just confirming that with you.
Yes. Yes, we have our own security. Do you need to?
No.
We have to have security because of the clientele and people.
11 acres too.
Oh yes, and just even in how we built our smaller studio and understanding the different security measures, that's not just a person, it's also how it's built that helps secure the premises. It's not just having, live people there to secure it. It's also just in the way it's structured to be secure for that, so that, unsavory people can't just walk in and do whatever. So yes, we are prepared in that way, but we definitely will have security and a very secure just structure to help us in that.
And then my last question, or my last curiosity is, once you start building, like breaking ground on the first whatever, is it a phased approach for all your different buildings and your different, there's a lot going on in your drafting?
Yes.
So how do you envision that will proceed?
Yes, the first phase that we're building will be the first phase, which will be the 3 buildings. I spoke to the production admin building, the 10,000 square foot soundstage, a mill, which is a building where they build sets and things like that, and the only belief side. So that will, in the infrastructure and the landscape, will be in the first phase. The second phase, it will either be 2 more phases or 1 more phase. Right, we want to be as successful as we can in the first phase so that all the other phases can be very, smooth going. So we're focusing on making sure that first phase is very successful. We're here to stay and here to build. So we want to stay and be here for a while. So yes, that's our focus. But there's 3 phases as of right now.
Okay, and just for further emphasis, you said 60 to 70 years old.
Say it one more time. 60 to 70 years. I hope it's 100 years when I'm gone. That's the goal.
No, you said 60 to 70-year-old.
Oh, actors and potential. Yes. Are you saying you're submitting?
She wants
I thought you were younger
when
than
Snoop Dogg comes to town. I've already done one.
I'm looking for whether there's a crack in the door, and I will talk.
There's a wide open crack. I really want to encourage that. I really want to encourage that because there is, again, I say this because it's true. We really believe in purpose. You know, purpose is very important. I think we're all chasing purpose in some way, shape, or form, no matter who we are and what walk of life we come from. And what's really great about what we do is sometimes people find their purpose in this art, right? I think he can speak to that, this amazing art and this is amazing creative, that it brings them joy, it brings them true like happiness inside. And so that's what this really is built on, but we are, thank God, wise enough to understand that it's very much so a business. And so we want to obviously keep that in perspective, but I say that to say all opportunities for people we want to have an opportunity for people to come in. Now they will have to do the work, but to give opportunities to all that is interested to develop people we want to have those internships for all ages, to come and take your hand at something you may be very gifted in. You may be the next Cicely Tyson, you may be Morgan Freeman, got successful at 54, right? You never know. So we don't want to minimize the next amazing Cicely Tyson right there. That's what we have sitting in our presence. We want to give her the opportunity to bless us as well.
I thank you for coming to Flossmoor. We're really excited about the opportunities you present. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Micros.
I was going to act as her agent. We've got a couple seniors here on the board. But we got to move into the 70 to 80 range. We'll talk later.
All numbers is open. I'm sorry if I specified some numbers and it didn't fit yours. You're like, you didn't say 80. Hey, what's going on?
Listen, I really appreciate it. And you started by saying it feels like home. And I really appreciate that because years ago I wanted our marketing campaign to be come home again. And that's cool. I really like that. And I like this whole concept. I don't know of any other way to describe it other than it's really cool. And I know nothing about it. You both seem like nice young people, right?
Thank you.
You got Phil Lee out in the audience, so I can't turn you down. Regardless. So you brought the muscle. So in Roz touched on the staging of how you would do this, so that's interesting because I know it can't all go on at once. I don't think you would be here unless you were either going to fund it privately or you had backing somehow.
Yes.
So is it private or are you going to banks for this?
Well, we have 2 options right now. We were going to originally build a studio in Gary, Indiana, some years back, prior to building it in Maryville. We were looking for land and we were kind of in the same possible opportunity. We just didn't feel like that was something that was going to progress given just the city and its progression. And we chose not to go that route. So the bank that we were in, working with, they were very excited to work with us. We kind of just put a pause on that. So we're back with them and talking with them and getting all the specifics done. But we are in position to be financed either privately and with the bank or both. So we're just making sure that we want to see all our options as we present the building and we're getting all of the specifics together with the specific projects to see what's the most effective way for us to move forward for the business to be successful.
Well, we want you to be successful, obviously, because if you fail, we fail. And we don't want that. It's very interesting. I'm obviously in favor of it. And I have one other question for you, but I really wish you luck. I think it's just exciting for Flossmoor. I don't know of any other way to put it. Okay, if I may, Gary, you said you were a comedian. I've always heard, I didn't hear any jokes tonight, but I've always heard that comedic writing is the hardest type of writing there is. Is that true?
People say that often. As a
Okay.
stand-up comedian, I've been on America's Got Talent, I've toured a lot. I think when you have a gift,
Right.
you know, I'm a spiritual person, I think that it's not as hard because it's your gift. It's the thing that comes a little easier to you, especially if you work in your craft. So I don't think I'm the best person to speak to the hard or the challenge of it because I think I have a gift and I think I've really worked a long time to perfect that gift. So
Right.
I don't think the hard part was being good at the writing part. I think the hardest part is staying consistent when nobody's watching you, staying after the dream when no opportunities is coming your way, and staying driven. So the writing side of things and being really good at the craft is something I've always just felt like came a little easier.
Well, most people are talented in that regard. They can either do it or they can't do it. So you're being a little bit humble. But I think,
It is a craft you can learn, though. I do want to say that writing is a
Right.
craft. Is it right? No, really.
no, but I wish you all the luck in the world and welcome to Flossmoor.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to it. Maybe one of these days you'll move over to Flossmoor too.
I look
Come
forward to
home
it.
again.
If we can do something about these
Okay,
taxes, I'll
sounds
be
good.
grateful.
Thank
That's a different. That's not mine. I had one on, but that's not mine. But it will be documented, though. Yes. So I am documenting it. So you know, not with my camera. Obviously, I'm gonna ask whose camera that is. So.
Thank you, Trustee Lofton.
Well, obviously, we've had an opportunity to look at your plan, learn a little bit about you in a very, very exciting meeting, I might say.
Thank you.
So we're all really much in favor of something like this with Flossmoor. And Dr. Brewer and Barry Brewer, you obviously have a lot of raw talent in the film industry, in acting and that sort of thing. Beyond that, I want you to know that you are what I consider to be an economic development practitioner. Because the things that you mentioned are extremely important to us about the other business that are going to come and support your business and bring their business to our town. That's something we've been working on. It's part of our strategic plan to be an economic development village. And your development, your plan is going to make that happen. And for that reason, I and my fellow trustees are way in favor of something like this. And we've been waiting for it. So good luck and carry it on.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Truly.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, Clerk Porter, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
Trustee Dagan.
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very impressive.
You have definitely made believers out of the trustees.
Thank you. We'll continue to do so.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a exciting discussion item. It is the mid-year review following that presentation. This is something that we do here in the village. It's not something that we have to do, but it's something that we do because we think it's important to have this transparent layer. We think that residents as well as board members really appreciate this added information on how are we doing with what some could consider the most important document that we put together all year, which is our annual budget. It defines our priorities and our goals and the work that we're doing for the year ahead. So with that, I will let Bridget Wachtel take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a very hard act to follow here this evening, starting with the Cricketeers with their team caricature photo. I think we need one of these to the department directors and myself. That would be fun.
We can help
to today's presentation by the Brewers. Very exciting stuff. So tonight is our annual discussion on our mid-year review for this year, fiscal year 26. This really kind of kicks off from the board's perspective, the budget process. Our staff has been knee-deep in the budget process already for the 27 budget for almost the past month. We'll start meetings this week, but the mid-year provides us an opportunity to take a look at the first 6 months of the current fiscal year and project how we're looking to do for the remaining 6 months. And as you'll hear tonight, you read in the report and you'll hear through the presentation tonight, it's been unusually challenging, and I'll touch on that. We focus on two of our major funds, the general fund, which supports all of our general operations in the village, and then our water sewer fund, which is one of our larger enterprise funds. The look is at a $5,000 variance with each line item, both on the revenue side and on the expenditure side. The report in the board packet this evening is not only the report, but also some spreadsheets that feed into the report. I'll be highlighting some of the larger variances, but anything 5,000 or greater was reported by the departments. And then a report from each of the department directors, just checking in on some of the larger goals that they had outlined for fiscal year 26, and how we're looking to proceed on those for the remainder of the year. I'll also point out that, as the mayor said, this isn't a process that we have to do. This is something that we choose to do, and we choose to do it in a public forum. We do that for the transparency and accountability of the management of the village's funds. It's also an opportunity to engage with the village board and the public on how we're performing financially. Some communities that go through this process, it's more of an internal staff review. We choose to do it in this public format. I'll also point out that the bond rating agencies look very favorably on things like this. So our mid-year review, our 5-year analysis, they see all of this as contributing to our financial strengths when considering our credit rating, our bond rating. It's also been an opportunity for us to take a look at both the internal pressures that we face as an organization, as well as external pressures, and we'll talk about some of that tonight. But it's been important in certain moments of time. I can think back to the Great Recession in 2008. I can think back to COVID, especially when there was a lot of unknown as to what was going to happen with spending and budgets and so forth. In high inflation markets, this has also been an important financial analysis for us to undertake. So we'll start by focusing on the general fund, and I'll walk through this chart that's on the screen for you here. So taking a look at our original budget for fiscal year 26, we started off looking to pull down from our fund balance about $3 million, $3.1 million. Of that, about 1.8 of that was attributable to capital projects, non-operating one-time expenses. Things such as our Flossmoor Road Viaduct project, our downtown improvements, some municipal complex improvements, and so forth, as you see that on the screen there. Since the budget was approved, we made a few amendments to the budget. We've included 2 additional grants, as well as 1 additional expense. And so you see that revenues, you'll see that the impact of that has brought the drawdown down to about $3 million. At the time of the review, mid-year review, our trend has actually improved, and we're looking at about a $2 million pull down of fund balance. And we'll go into detail on what exactly is feeding into these numbers. But we're netting about an additional $600,000 in revenue, and we're expecting about $480,000 less in expenditures. Our budgeted ending fund balance compared to our mid-year projected ending fund balance is $4.8 million versus an improvement of about $5.9 million. And taking a look just at that operating component of the use of fund balance, what started out at the time of the budget approval was about 1.4 million, and that has improved to about 580,000. So there's some good news in this analysis. There's also some not so good news, and we'll talk about that too. So of the revenues that are trending higher than budgeted, the three big ones are our sales tax, our non-home rule sales tax, and our state income tax. And combined, that's over $1 million of additional revenue that we're expecting by fiscal year end. Another significant revenue to discuss is the ambulance fees are trending about $550,000 more than what we had budgeted for. But keep in mind, about 21% of our calls this year are attributable to Medicaid-related calls or Medicaid-funded calls, and 50% of those revenues will have to go back to the GMAT program through the state of Illinois. And then finally, the casino tax, the shared casino tax across the south suburbs coming from Wind Creek Casino is trending much better than budget, an additional approximate $60,000 more than what we had anticipated at the time of preparing the fiscal year 26 budget. Of those revenues trending below, property tax is the big one. This is what we're going to have to spend a little bit of time, a couple slides in, talking more about. Keep in mind that this analysis was done in, with the books closing in October and was really done in November and December. And we're reporting on it now. At that time, we were anticipating about $300,000 less than what was levied, and that was due really to two components. One being the extension being less than the levy, which is very typical with property tax receipts. But the big variable, we'll talk about this in more detail, is actually the delay in property tax receipts from Cook County. The other one is the local use tax. Now, the local use tax is currently a state shared tax that is divided amongst communities based on a per capita calculation. And there's some changes with the Public Act that was passed by the state where some of those sales now are going to be attributable to general sales taxes as opposed to the local use tax. And so what we'll probably end up seeing is the local use tax goes down and the sales tax goes up, which makes sense according to the analysis that we've seen so far. And so we're projecting about $300,000 less in local use tax revenue. Utility tax is projected to decline about $37,000. And then we have two grants where we won't realize those monies in completely in fiscal year 26 because of the timing of those projects. So the grant monies will move over into a future year, as will those expenses. So moving on to the expenditure side of the equation. Overall, the expenditures are netting about $477,000 less than what we had budgeted. And how did we get there? Well, we've got about $565,000 expenses projected to be over budget. Those include police overtime. These are some of the more significant ones. Of that police overtime figure, and we'll calculate more granularly into that figure at the time of the budget preparation here. Some of that's attributable to vacancies. Some of that is attributable to special details that we're reimbursed for. Some of that is attributable to reimbursements that will come from the grant for the additional traffic enforcement grant that the police department has received. We have some overtime in both public safety records and public works that is contributing to an overage in our budget. Anticipating that to be about $30,000. That is to offset sick time, FMLA time, as well as the use of employee benefit time. We have a few fringe benefits that are trending over budget, the most significant of which is IMRF at about $60,000. All combined, those fringe benefits are trending about $85,000 more than budget, and that's really just a recognition of our actual staffing versus projected staffing, as well as for IMRF specifically, we will see a more significant rate increase, well, this past January 1st, so impacting half of the fiscal year. The age of this building in our municipal complex continues to be costly to maintain. We're anticipating about additional $15,000 in expenses with respect to the maintenance of this building. And then we have two expenses totaling about $60,000 that are actually offset by grants. One being the crosswalk flashing beacons, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. Beacons that have been funded in part by a ComEd grant, and the other being the purchase of some additional cameras as part of the retail theft grant that we received from the Illinois Attorney General's office. We have just over $1 million in expenses that are trending under budget, most of which, $830,000 of which is attributable to the timing of capital projects, and we see this every year. So these will be projects that won't be completed by fiscal year end, and then we'll be carrying those forward into a future fiscal year. Due to vacancies in a couple of departments, we have about $113,000 worth of personnel-related savings. And then you might recall that in preparing the 26 budget, we had put in a general fund contribution toward the annual street resurfacing program, because you might recall that the casino tax can only be used toward either capital improvements or the funding of pensions. And the village chose to allocate some additional monies toward our annual street resurfacing program. The bid came in less than what we had budgeted, so this is about $40,000 savings to the general fund budget. So the projected fund balance that is going to be used to support operations compared to budget is certainly an improvement, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. We're looking to draw down about $2 million in total fund compared to just over the $3 million that had been budgeted. This is really, obviously over $1 million worth of savings from a cash flow standpoint. This I can really summarize being attributable to two major reasons. One being the delay in capital projects, as I mentioned, as well as a significant increase in revenues. The operating position, I'll reinforce, is an improvement from that which was budgeted, about $870,000 better than what we had anticipated, and so that too is very good news. And we're looking at a higher end-of-year fund balance than what had been budgeted for April 30th. So here's where the real fun begins. All of these numbers may not actually come to fruition, right? So you might recall, and we've been updating the board on this, but for the benefit of our public who's holding out with us till the end here this evening, the Cook County tax bills were significantly delayed this year, right? So they did not go out until November, and they were due December 15th. The backstory to that is Cook County has been going through a major technology conversion that, believe it or not, has been lasting for the past 10 years. And every system throughout Cook County and every department and everything that they touch is going through a financial system upgrade. And it's from what we know of it has been challenging with systems not talking to each other, That is why you might have seen some news articles about, the assessor's office and the treasurer's office. The data isn't talking to each other. They can't get the bills out, that sort of thing. They were coming off of very old mainframe systems. A lot of their IT people have retired. One of these legacy projects of an organization. Anyway, tax bills were due December 15th, and we all expected significant receipts to start to populate into all of our accounts, and that's simply not happening. As of today, we have about $683,000 of property tax revenue. Just for comparison purposes, the second installment of our tax levy is about $3.5 million. So we are undergoing some significant cash flows issues right now. We have been able to work with some of our vendors who we have very established relationships with to start to delay the payment of bills. We have, obviously, as you do in these types of situations, we've slowed down our capital projects, we've slowed down our capital equipment replacement. Our finance director has been, dutifully monitoring this. She has let 3 investments mature so that we have cash flow, additional cash flow to be able to make our accounts payable and our payroll. So we're losing investment income, not to mention the rest of the village's tax receipts that are sitting with Cook County, earning interest with the county versus earning interest through our investment policy. We are going to be tapping into our reserves, and thanks to the stewardship of this board and previous boards, we have a healthy reserve to be able to tap into. But we're gonna have to be able to do that over the next couple of months. We don't know when the end of this is going to be. The Treasurer's Office has issued a timeline by which they say is very tentative and could change at any time to release these tax monies. I will tell you, today we received a tax disbursement for $394.
Oh, that's encouraging.
That's really encouraging.
And 58 cents.
And 58 cents, thank you.
How much did that cost?
Exactly. So honestly, we don't know if, we could end up closing this fiscal year with, less than $1 million in property tax monies. I'm just not sure. We are at the point, it's been a challenging 27 budget to prepare for the directors in the back of the room. We're going to start those conversations this week. And we might have to go back into the 26 projected and the 27 budget to make some adjustments, depending on how this proceeds. But we're going to see some cash flow imbalances between fiscal year 26 and 27. It is definitely going to have some longer term impact on our capital equipment schedule as purchases and replacements are delayed. And maybe even our finance and facilities plan. We just don't know yet. Not to mention the loss of investment revenue over these next several months. I think I will tell you that our peers who are in communities that have really healthy sales tax and other diverse revenue sources are not feeling it as significantly as we are. And so I think as we proceed with our conversation here this evening and we talk about new revenue sources and like you did during the 5-year analysis, and we talked about further discussing and exploring a places for eating tax, and that conversation will be coming back before the village board here over the next couple of months. Those decisions are really critical. Thank you. to, trying to find whatever it be, other revenue sources outside of property tax so that we can lessen our dependency on property tax. Additional economic development is key to that as well. So it's a really sobering conversation given all of the positive discussion that we had here this evening. But this problem is consuming a lot of our time as well. So you can imagine, the opportunity costs that come with that. As we're not able to kind of divert our attention on the other village business, we're trying to figure out, how are we going to keep things functioning over these next several months, and what sort of pressures, political or otherwise, that we can put on Cook County to speed things along and receive those monies even more quickly. So with that, I'll move over to the Water and Sewer Fund. Our Water and Sewer Fund has not seen any amendments since the passage of our budget in April for May 1 of 25 through April 30th of 26. The original budget, accounted for the fact that we would have new meters installed, and we'll talk a little bit about that. The board back last April passed what we call a pass-through water rate increase. So you pass on the supply costs of our water system and the increase that we saw from the supply of our water coming from Hammond. We have, over the last couple of years, used an increased use of fund balance for water and sewer infrastructure, and this is actually really positive news because up until this point, the water and sewer fund was so unstable and I'll just say fragile that our ability to pull down fund balance for these capital projects just wasn't there. So we were able to take actually a portion of the small water meter replacement out of fund balance. Some of the phase 1 water improvements, our new SCADA system, which hasn't come back before the village board. We haven't talked about this in a while, but that is in the 26 budget. And then the relocation of a sanitary sewer in the central business district. That project was completed as part of the downtown work. That also came out of the water and sewer fund. So while there was an actual operating surplus that was budgeted in the amount of $527,000, you'll see those budgeted negative numbers there because we're drawing down that fund balance to be able to pay for those projects with cash on hand. We're seeing at the time of the mid-year anticipated revenues being less than what had been budgeted and expenditures about $50,000 more than what had been budgeted. So we'll talk a little bit about what factors into that. And really, in the water and sewer fund, the two major contributors to the fund's performance are obviously on the revenue side is the sale, right? The sale, water and sewer sales, as well as on the expenditure side, the actual supply costs of the water itself. So while sales are trending about $200,000 greater than what we had budgeted for fiscal year 25, we really overestimated by about $100,000, $132,000 netting of our sale revenue. Interestingly, penalty revenues are trending over, so you can see kind of the effect of really the cost of living impact on our residents. One of the things that, one of the goals that our finance director has, and she's looking to bring to fruition here very soon, is being able to move to monthly billing. And I think that moving to monthly billing will help. Will help with cash flow, not only in the receipt of our monies, but just for people to be able to personally budget and be able to pay for their service. Our water purchase costs are projected to be about $63,000 more than budgeted. This is offset a little bit by less overtime. We're expecting there to be less overtime expended by fiscal year end. Our fund balance is projected to decrease from about 1.8 million to 1.7 million as of April 30th. And again, that's that drawdown for our capital infrastructure improvements. Our bill to purchase ratio is holding steady at 79% for calendar year 25. That's where it was in calendar year 24 as well. And as I mentioned, more capital expenses are being charged out of this fund. This slide really talks about some of the overall observations from an analysis like this. Obviously the lack of the receipt of property taxes from Cook County and the impact on our cash flow is alarming. Thankfully, we have the healthy reserves to be able to carry us in the interim. The deferred capital and the personnel turnover continues to help on a short-term basis. Our grant monies have been really instrumental over the last, I'll say, 5 years in projects coming to fruition. And quite honestly, I'm not sure how much longer those grant monies are going to last. So that, is a concern. We might start to see, over the next couple of years, some of these capital projects be placed on hold or not come to fruition because of the lack of grant money. As I mentioned, diversifying our revenue sources, what's happening in the present moment really drives that home, I hope, for you as you're making decisions, now and in the future with our budget to be, keeping that in mind. And, we continue to see not only these external but internal pressures on our budget. I was joking a little bit with Public Works and Finance. I mean, if we had to, hopefully we're not going to have to, if we had to start doing some interfund borrowing to handle this cash flow situation, we might be in a spot where we're actually pulling money out of water and sewer and borrowing it to be able to support operations.
That's a change.
That is quite a change, right? It's a funny thing to say from where we were a few years ago. Hope not to be there because from an accounting standpoint, it's a lot more work. But you can see the impact across our budget when some of these external and internal pressures start to play. And I just, I'll close by saying, thankfully the village has a long history of, making the right financial decisions when it comes to our reserve policy, our fund balance, minimizing our debt. We were even able to make $1 million bond payment in the middle of all of this, and to be able to do that. We have not been in a spot where we've had to take out any tax anticipation warrants, which again would become another cost to the village. So that is all kind of some very good news in all of this. I think we're managing it on a day-to-day basis as well as we can, and I think that we'll get through this. Our team thinks that we'll get through this. We just need to continue to make kind of some, short-term smart decisions here to, slow down and stall on some of our work so that we can make sure that we've got enough cash flow to get us through. So with that, I know it's been a long evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on the analysis, and we'll be back in March. We'll be back in February, at the end of February, to talk about our strategic plan and to kind of touch on some of the goals and objectives of the village. We'll be back in March to kick off the budget process, and we'll have 4 discussions on the fiscal year 27 budget before it's approved at the end of April, before you know it.
Thank you so much. And just so the board's aware, Village Manager Wachtel first flagged this issue with property sales tax in late November. Typically, what we do is we get money in installments. As the county receives it, the county pays it out to us. That didn't happen this time. And thanks to Director Novoa also for keeping an eye on that. Since that time, we've been working through South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association to build a coalition to lobby because there's strength in numbers. Also, we've placed multiple calls to the President's Office, Cook County President's Office, the Clerk's Office, multiple calls to the Treasurer's Office, and then with our local Cook County Commissioners. And nobody seems to have an answer for us. So it's a very frustrating situation that they've put us in. As Village Manager Wachtel mentioned, we have an excellent team working to keep things going the way residents expect them to go. But the situation is extremely serious. With that, I'll start with questions from Trustee Lofton.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Bridget, for a report that even I can understand. And with that, I have one question. I just want to give a shout out, first of all, to our directors who seem to be able to manage their business at a very high level, given these situations with the county and funding and revenue and that sort of thing. So good job to those guys and girls that are just fantastic. We're very fortunate to have them. With regard to the grants, where does the political line kind of get down out of favor with that? You know, I'm thinking that most of our grants come from the state, correct? Or through the state.
Yes, but our most significant grants outside of that would be through the Army Corps of Engineers, so those are federal grants.
Federal grants.
And our phase 4. Yeah, phase 4, which was all set to go to bid. Our project, other projects in the state of Illinois have been put on hold for administrative review. So we are waiting to hear what will happen to that funding. And I know, the mayor has been actively engaged on this and actually has a call for tomorrow on this matter. But we're starting to feel the effects of the federal political climate here locally.
Well, I kind of figured that I wanted to hear some kind of feedback on that. With that, thank you for the report. Keep pounding away. I think we'll get that.
Thank you. Trustee Dorsey.
Yeah, I can only imagine how difficult of a time this is. And I'm happy to hear that there's a coalition that's being formed to look at alternatives. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyhow. Is there any discussion or is there any precedence for interest revenue on these delayed payments?
What happens with the money?
That's a really good question and probably starts to fall into Mr. Addison's lane. From what I've been told, in theory, the county shouldn't be earning any interest on our money. The number that I've heard that is sitting at the county right now is anywhere between 8 and 9 billion across all the taxing jurisdictions. I know, these conversations aren't just happening at the municipal level, they're happening at the school district level, the park district. So, yeah, there's a good question as to what happens, and I'll let Carl talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
I'd like to be able to just tell you what the statute says, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. The counties are supposed to turn over the money, I think it's within 30 days, and there's supposed to be no loss of interest to you, and you're supposed to get that made up, but I don't see that happening. They can't get anything done right, and you didn't mention it verbally, but your report had also stated that the first installment has already been moved from March to April.
set an arbitrage for the county where they're taking basically a loan and making a profit on it? That's illegal.
Yeah, and there are conversations by different municipal mayors and managers, groups, COGs around the area, in the county, as to, should we be suing the county to try to get something?
Yeah.
So that's something that we continue to have conversations about. It may be worth pursuing. I haven't looked at that statute to see exactly what they're supposed to do and what your options are. We need to.
For the record, we're not suggesting suing anybody. We'd like to work together to get
Absolutely.
this solved.
But, this has been going on for quite a while.
Correct.
Right? There does come a time where other avenues have to, it's not I would imagine wouldn't be our first avenue.
Correct.
But if we're having this conversation again months from now, and the losses that we're taking because of the receipts, I think it's just financially prudent for us to look at these other avenues, especially if it's not just Flossmoor.
It's not.
Especially if there's a correlation that's saying, hey, we're suffering in the same ways. And sometimes it takes that to get, not our local government, of course, but it takes that to get county and state government moving into a 10-year systems problem.
Thank you. Any other comments from Trustee Daggett?
So when you join an organization, you join its culture. And one of the bedrock parts of this community's government culture has been being fiscally responsible. We've got the hardware to prove it. 48 years? Is that what we've been? 49 years? Which is one small part, and it's written all over the village history to see that we've been financially responsible. You guys do an amazing job. The directors are constantly thinking of ways to be fiscally responsible. We put all of this work in to get the ratings that we have, to get the reputation that we have, to take care of our vendors, to take care of our people. So there was nothing in this tonight that we haven't already talked about outside of the Cook County component. Like everything up there we've been talking about for years. We're looking at solutions for all that to the point where our sewer and water fund is healthy enough to borrow off of on a rainy day if we have to. So it's beyond disappointing to me that now all of that work that's been put into our functioning the way that we do financially, our reputation and our rating is being damaged by an epic failure from Cook County. I don't know how else to put it. And I think the thing that's even more disappointing to me for that is the lack of communication. I could get, okay, something happened, fine, but I ask the director of finance all the time, any new news, any new updates? No. And then they throw a $300 deposit in the bank and there's still no communication? Someone needs to answer for that. Someone needs to answer the phone calls from a mayor, from a municipality, and answer those questions. Because now it's going to start affecting our residents. It's going to affect the services. We're not far from that happening. This is extremely disappointing to me, and it's no fault of our own. We've done everything the right way. We've governed the way you're supposed to govern, and they have $8 to $9 billion, and we can't get the 3.5 that they owe us. I don't understand. I don't get it. And to me, someone needs to be answering those questions. So to the directors, to the village manager, thank you so much for all the hard work you do, because I know now you're navigating losses that are affecting us, and your job is that there's so much that you have to do. Like you're talking about budgets coming up, and this is taking even more time away from doing the normal business of the village, and it's pathetic. So thank you for the hard work you're doing. Let us know if there's anything we can do to support you.
I just add to that, Trustee Daggett, the normal work of the village plus the flurry of economic development that's come through.
Right.
Plus this, the holiday season was no holiday.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, if people knew the amount of work that the people in this room do off the clock, It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And this is what we're rewarded with. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
Thank you. Trustee Rogers.
I'm like Trustee Dorsey. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise because in my daily life, this is a common story. It's just unfortunate to see it, you know, playing out again and again and again. It sounds like that we have exhausted all our options. It's a waiting game around this point. Don't we really have anything else to add to it? I mean, I think you've already pointed out everything else.
Thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
It's to our advantage that we have directors and a village manager who have, for years or for as long as they've been in their jobs, managed things so well. We're very fortunate. But it's also a disadvantage because we have such high standards, and now we're in a situation where we can't continue to operate at that high level. So if we were a municipality that had been scraping along, not doing well, this would just be one more thing. But that's not us. Flossmoor has provided services, has provided birthday presents, Christmas presents, Valentine's Day, everybody gets what they're expecting to get. So to be hit with this, hits us, to me, harder, because this is not the way we've had to operate. But I'm optimistic. We will have to move money from buckets that we're not supposed to move it from, if necessary. But what an amazing opportunity that we can't do that. What about the municipalities that have no reserves, or very low reserves, or no fund, or haven't been managing well, and don't know how to move money? We're in a very good position to weather this storm. The staff understands what to do. Village manager has many years of juggling, managing balls, changing the color of balls, working without balls. I'm optimistic. It's a lot of work. It's more work in the day than is expected and anticipated, but I'm very optimistic. One of the things I wanted to ask, and this is at the granular level or almost the granular level, do we know for each percentage improvement in purchase to bill ratio what the dollar advantage to us would be? If we're 79 and we move to 83, and if you don't have an answer, that's fine. But to me, those are the kinds of numbers, and there are other numbers, that could help us understand where additional monies are. So if we know by doing X, it equals this amount of money. By doing this operationally, it equals this amount of money. It can help us find other resources. It won't be income in the sense of a new business with sales tax, but I think if we would know things like, okay, for 2% increase, we know it's this amount of money. That would help us. Another thing, when we talk about a place for eating tax, and I might have mentioned this before, we know there's an implementation cost not only for the restaurants, but for the village. Because it's not something that you just, and I'm being facetious, it's not money just falls on a desk. There has to be a process in place to implement operationally and to, for the long term, administer it. So you take those costs, you take the tax you receive minus those costs. Plus, what will the restaurants have to do? So we know what pain points they may have. So when we look at any additional tax at all, we have to look hard at what's the cost to benefit ratio for that type of thing. Another thing is, at what point, and I know you're not going to get there, we pray and hope we're not going to get there, but at what point point do we have to disclose an operational change to the village? Like, when might we have to inform residents of something besides, here's the lay of the land? That's another thing to think about. And that's all I have. And I thank you again for the work you're doing, for being competent and knowledgeable to stay on top of it, but really, I'm optimistic. This is hard to get through, but I really think we're going to get through it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Myers.
Ultimately, I mean, I look at it more optimistically. We've been planning on this ever since I've been on the board. That's why we have that reserve. That's why we are here today. And it worked perfectly. I mean, we're not suffering. And I understand the places for eating tax. There's that drumbeat, and it's a constant thread, and it's been going on for years. I'm not necessarily against it, but you don't have to keep pounding our heads with it. We'll get to that point when we need it. The 79%, I'm like 2 years now, that's fantastic. I mean, we could get it, unfortunately, you want to get it up, but I mean, the cost in doing that is so great, it'd be in the millions. And the other bad part of that is we've got a pie, and we've got to slice it so many different ways. In a small community like ours, we're always putting out fires, so we have to take the most severely damaged part of a 100-year-old infrastructure and typically fix those first. So we can't get to everything all at once, but 79 is not so bad. We've been worse, a lot worse. And it is significant when we can get that up. But all in all, I mean, I think that if we had taken bond money, billions of dollars of bond money at 2% or 2.5%, and put it in bonds somewhere and got 5%, we'd all be sitting in jail for an arbitrage. It's not a failure on the part of Cook County, it's incompetence on Cook County. It's not a failure, it's incompetence. And that's the crime. John Cass said it once, it's not what's legal that's the problem, it's not what's illegal that's the problem in Cook County, it's what's legal. And that's true, and they live by that. You know, it's Cook County, it's Chicago, but this is straight up incompetence, and it hurts all of our citizens. It hurts everyone, not just the South Side, and it particularly hurts the people that can ill afford it. You know, I mean the poorest of the people out there, the poorest towns and cities. So it's just, that is the unfortunate part. We're good, we're safe, and yeah, we have competent village employees, and I applaud you guys, but you're doing your job and you're doing it well, and we expect that of you. We just can't control these other things, and fortunately, we're competent, and they're hurting us. Billions of dollars is a lot of interest, and I'm with Kevin. There should be a class action suit, someone. I mean, the South Suburban mayors and managers, whoever their attorney is, he should be looking forward to developing some fees there. And he should get the West Suburban and the North Suburban, and we should all go after them. Because it's criminal at this point. It is criminal. And that's all I have. Good job, guys. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. We do need to go into executive session tonight to discuss some other exciting opportunities for the village. But before we do that, I'll ask for other business, starting with Trustee Rogers.
No other business, but I do want to say thank you to Flossmoor Police Department for your efforts with HF. I got a text message from my son while I was working, and it didn't feel good, but when I rode past the school, I saw all of you there. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
I wanted to, the mayor already has acknowledged, but I wanted to acknowledge all the volunteers for the day of service. I think, just anecdotally, that the weather might have had an effect on how many people came out, but I still saw a lot of people out, and it's always a good feeling. There was another event on Sunday with the Center food equity in medicine. They had a gospel concert. A lot of people came out for that. I was glad to see that also. So all of these efforts, village-wide, bring the community together. I'd like to encourage everyone, all the trustees, if you can volunteer for an event or volunteer again for an event, it's a really great day, and I've always appreciated being part of it. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you. Trustee Mitros.
I have none.
Thank you. Trustee Lofton.
Nothing, but Happy New Year, and let's have a good 2026.
Amen. Trustee Dorsey.
Yeah, despite the weather, Monday, the event we had at the community, at the church, the comment was, and Bridget was there, the comment was, is that they had 3 times as many people to show up. So that was really impressive. Even despite how horrible the weather was, this is something that's really important to us in Flossmoor. And 3 times as many bodies that they expected showed up for this. So I was proud to be part of that and was proud to see how we show up here in Flossmoor. Again, I want to thank Carl and his team for the response to the incident at the high school. But just all the more reasons why we have businesses here that want to continue and want to come in and do economic development. As Mr. Brewer said, this feels like home, and we treat it that way. So thank you all.
Thank you. Trustee Daggett.
Yep, 3 quick things. I'll try and keep them really, really quick. First off, yesterday was fantastic. I had an opportunity to bounce around to a few of the events. There's a sign right here staring me in the face that says Flossmoor, the Volunteer Village, and that holds true, whether it's schools, community events, MLK Day of Service, fantastic. So everybody who did that was awesome. One thing I did want to mention is Tom Dobrez's, the movie, the Flossmoor movie. I had a chance to go and do that on Saturday, and I believe Trustee Mustafa's also seen that film. If you haven't seen the film, it's awesome. I bought the book also, but it's very, very well done. It's only about 30 minutes long. There's another event that he's doing on the 28th. I don't think they've picked what charity that one's going to go to, but it's going to be at the Homewood Science Center on Saturday the 28th. So if you haven't seen the video, it's awesome. Go do so. And then I also wanted to thank the police department, but also the village and an HF school district. There have been times in the past where I've had conversations with the village manager and also the police department about how can we make sure that we get announcements out quickly when something happens. Unfortunately, things are going to happen in the community. I think that the communication with the community was out within 2 hours of a very serious situation. The speed in which the communication happened was fantastic. So thank you specifically for that aspect of it. I know you guys do a lot of hard work on everything else, but the community really needs that communication. You guys did a great job with it this time, so thank you for the clear and quick communication on that incident. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Clerk Porter.
Thank you. No comments.
Thank you. Attorney Carl Austin. Thank you for joining us and filling in for Joe Miller.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. I know finance doesn't have anything to do, but overtime exemption from federal income tax. It started in 2025 with the dumbass big beautiful bill. I think that's the official title. I'm sorry, but I think that's what it is. I get sick when I see this. Anyway, going on. It's not all overtime is exempt from federal income taxes. It is not exempt from state. Employers do not have to provide the dollar amount to the employees on their W-2s for 2025. The W-2s don't have any place for that other than Box 14. If you do have it, you provide it, that's great, but you're not required to. You are required to do so in 2026. And it is only that overtime that is required under Fair Labor Standards Act. We pay in government in Illinois under collective bargaining agreement by policy or contract overtime that is not required by FLSA. FLSA, you don't count paid leave as hours worked. Most employees in the village probably get paid leave counting as hours worked, and so they'll get paid overtime that under FLSA is not required to be paid. That's not exempt from federal taxes. Only that part that is required by FLSA, and only for those employees that are non-exempt. Some of us, as employers, are more generous in the federal requirements, and so if you pay overtime to employees that are exempt, you can pay at whatever rate you want. That money is not exempt from federal income tax. So there's a lot of peculiar rules, especially in police and fire, because they're not necessarily on a 7-day work week. They can go up to a 28-day work cycle. So you need to check policies as well as your fire agreements. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go back and not just say, okay, that 1/3 of everybody's overtime, because it's only the premium part that is exempt. So the halftime is what would be exempt under the regulations. So by every work cycle, 7 days or up to 28 in the public safety group, you got to recalculate it to see whether there was any overtime that was paid because they exceeded what was required under FLSA, not just your policies and collective bargaining. So I'm glad I'm not doing your finances.
Ann is doing like this.
I know.
Ann's got it.
We have a client alert that I was supposed to review, and I actually reviewed, not revised. So it'll come out in the next day. Others have some information on this one. And as far as the grants, obviously your president, not mine, doesn't like the state of Illinois and comparable states, and is holding money hostage just because he thinks he can. I hope the courts will enforce the Constitution. We're a society of laws and justice, and I hate that we don't seem to be doing that these days. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you. Village Manager Wachtel.
Before I give my comments, Ann, you look like you're about to.
All I was going to say is our awesome software system, financial software system we have, BSNA, is building pay codes that will help calculate this very complex statute amounts. That's all.
Excellent. I want to echo the comments made earlier about Friday's incident and the fine work that our police department and neighboring police departments who responded. I think we had a total, you said, chief across our community and neighboring communities, 14 officers responding. And I know our administration was very happy with, pleased with how the cooperation and how the event ended successfully and safely. So thank you. I also, the mayor highlighted it earlier, but want to give a special shout out to Nicole Castagna on our staff. She, as mentioned, the communication aspect of yesterday's day of service is a large part of making sure that it's clear on what projects are available, what projects have changed, and there's a lot of behind the scenes that happens with tweaks and changes to projects and how volunteers can get the right information. And I know from a staff perspective, her excellent communication resulted in less calls to our staff with questions and, how do I do X, Y, Z? And so I don't think she's here with us this evening, but want to publicly recognize her for that. So that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. At the beginning of January, Crane Chicago ran an article that highlighted Flossmoor and a handful of communities throughout the Chicagoland area, talking about how we had 12% growth in our home prices while the rest of Chicago remained stagnant. And that is thanks to the excellent work that you all do in the back of the room in your departments, thanks to the board and our sound financial and planning decisions that we make with the leadership of Bridget Wachtel, our village manager. It's thanks to all of the volunteers who come out to make Flossmoor a place that people want to come home to. So thank you, everybody who's been a partner in that effort. It was quite fun to see, and also fun to see a home on Brassy as the featured home for that article. Also, Chipotle and 7 Brew plans were approved by the Plan Commission last week and will be in front of the board for approval in early February, so looking forward to that. For those of you who don't know what 7 Brew is, teenagers will drive across multiple counties and state lines to get to it. They have the most impressive drink menu that you've ever seen. It is a drive-through restaurant, and they really queue up the cars. So it's exciting that we are the first location, I think, in the Southland. So that's going to be in front of you in a couple of weeks. Chipotle, one of my favorites. Excited to see them as well. And then the last thing, I don't know if you saw a post that I made about Trader Joe's, trying to up our recruitment of them. Their real estate folks are going to be meeting in February to talk about future growth for their chain. And I would love to see a Trader Joe's anchoring the vacant space over on Bowman Road. So if you could go on into the Trader Joe's website, encourage your friends and family, your neighbors to go onto the Trader Joe's website and ask for a shop here in Flossmoor. I would really appreciate it. And if you need some ideas of reasons why, let me know, and I'll send you the list of reasons that I highlighted on social media. I don't have anything else. With that, can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss the potential sale of village-owned property?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Clerk Porter, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
Trustee Dagan.
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. And we will just adjourn straight from executive session. So everybody